October used to mean autumn leaves and my granddaughter's birthday, Adam said softly, but now it means the month I had to rethink everything. At 75, Adam, a retired postman from Birmingham, never imagined he'd spend his golden years glued to pension update broadcasts, holding his breath with every new announcement. Like thousands of British pensioners, he'd been living on a modest state pension and small savings, but the urgent October 2025 pension updates changed the rhythm of his life entirely. You think you've done everything right, he explained. Worked, saved, planned, and then suddenly, one policy change makes you question if you'll get through winter. Adam's story begins in his small, neatly kept flat on the outskirts of the city. He receives around $870 a month from his state pension, but after rent, council tax, and utilities, he's left with barely $250 for food, transport, and essentials. They call it a cost of living crisis, he said, chuckling without humor. But for us, it's been a cost of surviving crisis for years. When the October 2025 updates were announced, adjusting the state pension rate, reviewing the triple lock mechanism, and tightening certain benefit thresholds, Adam felt a wave of uncertainty. Rumors swirled about delayed payments and recalculations, and like many, he wasn't sure whether he'd get more money or less. "It's the not knowing that gets you," he said. "I'm not asking for luxury, just consistency." His days were a quiet routine. He'd wake early, walk to the local shop for milk, and spend his afternoons reading old newspapers. "The hardest part is the silence," he admitted. "When you live alone, your thoughts can get loud." To save on heating, Adam wore layers indoors, often wrapping a scarf around his neck while making tea. His gas meter clicked ominously each evening. "I've turned Bill watching into a hobby," he laughed. "Every senior I know checks their smart meter more than their phone." Still, Adam found small joys, watching pigeons from his window, tending to a single potted plant, and chatting with neighbors. "You hold on to what makes you feel human," he said. Then came the letter, an official notice explaining how his pension would be recalculated under the October 2025 policy shift. It promised a rise tied to inflation, bringing his weekly payment closer to $241.05. "I read it 3 times, he said. "You never know if it's real until the money shows up." But the relief was short-lived when housing and council deductions quickly absorbed most of the gain. "You see $20 extra on paper," Adam explained, "but after bills, you're lucky if $5 stays in your hand." That small amount, however, made a difference. "It meant I could afford butter again," he smiled, half proud, half embarrassed. Adam's situation reflected a wider truth. UK pensioners were facing an impossible balance. Keir Starmer's government had vowed to restore fairness to retirees, reaffirming the triple lock after months of speculation. But the legacy of past austerity under David Cameron and benefit freezes under Theresa May still hung heavy. "We're paying now for what was cut 10 years ago," Adam said, his tone calm but firm. "Every government promises stability, but the rules keep changing." In Parliament, debates raged over how to fund the growing pension bill amid an aging population. Economists warned of unsustainable costs, while charities like Age UK and Independent Age urged compassion over calculation. For people like Adam, the politics felt distant. "They argue over billions," he said, "but I just need enough for breakfast." Throughout October 2025, news reports were filled with stories like his, seniors struggling to understand what the new pension calculations meant, some waiting weeks for corrected payments. One elderly couple in Liverpool reportedly received the wrong amount twice, while another in Kent had to borrow from their children until the adjustments cleared. Adam watched these stories unfold on his tiny television, feeling both comforted and saddened. "At least it's not just me," he sighed. The updates also brought confusion about winter fuel payments as the eligibility thresholds shifted. "One year you get help, the next you don't," he said. "You feel like you're playing bingo with your bills." Despite everything, Adam refused to give in to despair. He began keeping a small notebook where he tracked every expense. Writing it down helps you see control, he explained. He learned to budget weekly instead of monthly, stretching food with creative recipes, porridge in the morning, soup at night, and what he jokingly called his famous toast-based diet. He discovered that local churches offered free Sunday lunches for pensioners and that the community center hosted a warm space every Friday. That's where you really find gold, he said, not in money, but in people. There, he met others facing the same struggles, widows, veterans, and old friends of friends, each with their own version of surviving Britain's pension maze. Adam's resilience soon turned into quiet leadership. He began helping others navigate the confusing paperwork of pension updates. I've become the unofficial helpline of my block, he grinned. People knock on my door with letters and ask me to translate government English into normal English. His ability to simplify bureaucracy brought comfort to many. We share what we learn and we keep each other afloat, he said. It reminded him of his postman days, delivering news, connecting people, being part of something larger than himself. As months passed, the immediate panic over the October updates faded, but the long-term realities remained. Inflation persisted, rent continued to climb, and even with pension adjustments, many seniors still fell behind. Adam followed political discussions about raising the retirement age to 68 and the push to reform the pension tax system. Every headline feels like another test, he said. Yet, his outlook softened. You stop waiting for miracles and start making small ones yourself. He learned to use online banking with his grandson's help, saving bus fare by paying bills digitally. The internet terrified me, he confessed, but it's cheaper than the post office. In early 2026, when the full effects of the pension reform became visible, Adam noticed something shifting, not just in his finances, but in his spirit. He'd survived the uncertainty, adapted to the changes, and found new rhythms in old routines. I think we older folks are better at adapting than we get credit for, he said. He even started giving small talks at the local library's senior sessions about managing on a tight pension. His advice was always simple. Plan like the government won't save you, but believe that people will. When asked what keeps him going, Adam paused. Gratitude, he finally said. You can't control policy, but you can control your peace. His message to other pensioners was both practical and profound. Stay informed, lean on community, and don't let shame silence you. We've earned the right to speak up, he said. This country runs on the backs of people like us, so our stories matter. Adam's story is the quiet echo of a generation that built the postal routes, railways, and classrooms of Britain, now navigating a pension system that often feels like shifting sand. Yet, through humor, humility, and a stubborn sense of pride, he's turned survival into an art form. I may live on less, he said, smiling, but I live honestly. In a world of policy updates and broken promises, his resilience stands as a reminder that no announcement can measure the strength of those who've weathered life's hardest winters and still find warmth to share.